Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, it's so nice to have you here this morning. Welcome to everyone else joining. We're going to go ahead and get started with our quick 30-minute chair yoga, depending on where you're joining from. I know Millie's in Tennessee. Here in Orlando, we're having really strange weather today. It's super muggy. There's ominous clouds, tornado warnings. So, hence the devotion I picked this morning. Um, this image kind of struck me of this dark sky and how do we still maintain our hope and our faith? And so, there is a reference to Psalm here. It is God who arms me with strength and keeps my way secure. So I hope that for all of you today and every day, but maybe a little bit more so when it looks a little ominous outside. But thanks for joining me. We're going to go ahead with our chair yoga this morning. All you need is a comfortable chair, maybe one that doesn't really shift around a whole lot. It is helpful if you need a pillow to have that nearby, have a beverage nearby, mostly just the intention to take the next few minutes for yourself, really. So that's kind of where we'll get started. I'd like you to be comfortable in your seat and close your eyes. Just start to take maybe some slightly longer and deeper breaths. Just notice the air around you. Notice any other sounds around you and start to let those things become less of a distraction and turn your focus more internal so that really what you're trying to tune into is the sound of your breath. And with each inhale, start with filling your breath first low in your belly and then up towards your lungs. So a good way to do that is put your right hand down towards your belly. Maybe your right thumb is on your belly button and then your hand extends down over your abdomen and your left hand comes up on your chest over your heart. You can still do all this with your eyes closed. And as you inhale, think about first filling that lower abdomen with air first. So relax and let that fill. And then as you take a deeper, longer breath, let it lift and fill your lungs. And you'll actually feel your chest expand, your heart lift. Maybe even you want to bring your shoulders back a little bit, kind of embrace that stretch, tilt your chin up. And as you exhale, let that air back out. So we'll try this guided breath maybe 3 more times. Inhale first into your low abdomen, your belly area. Let it fill your lungs, lift your heart, roll your shoulders back, but keep them away from your ears. Tilt your chin up. Exhale, let the breath out, maybe rounding your spine, curling your shoulders towards your knees on your lap a little bit. Chin tilts down. Next, inhale, lifting your heart, lifting your gaze. You can blink your eyes open. We're actually starting a little bit of a seated cat-cow with this breathing. Exhale, roll those shoulders forward, emptying your lungs fully of that oxygen. And one more time. Inhale, lift your heart, lift your gaze, shine your light. Exhale, rolling, come back down. Actually, bring your hands on your knees, roll all the way down. See how close you can come. Can you rest down right on your lap? Tuck your chin. Feel a stretch along your back side now from the base of your neck all the way down through your sit surface. Your next inhale brings you up. Lift your arms, reach to the sky, gaze up at your thumbs. Hands come to heart center. We're going to do some twisting here. So I'm going to twist first to the right. So as you twist, take the opposite arm across your body, place it on the outside of that knee. Your other hand has some options depending on your seat. Maybe scoot forward so there's room for you to put your fist behind you to twist. Maybe hang on to the back of the chair using it as a little bit of rotary force. Gently though, this is early in our day, early in our practice, so be kind to yourself. Maybe gaze over that right shoulder if that feels okay. Take an inhale. Your exhale brings you back to center. So let's take one more centering breath. Inhale, reach up, gaze at the sky, tilt your chin up. Exhale, hands, heart, center. We're going to twist the opposite direction. So for me, that's the left. So maybe being more towards the edge of your seat is good. Crisscross that arm over the front, twisting your body. Start that twist from the base of your spine. Ride it all the way up for your neck. Maybe using the back of your chair to help a little bit more twist. Turning your neck if that feels comfortable, gazing all the way over that back shoulder. Take an inhale here. Your exhale brings you back to center. Good. We're going to do a little bit of side bending here today in our chairs. So get comfortable where you are. Inhale, reach, gaze up. Exhale, hands come down through heart center. Take your hands and put them under your seat. Okay. So first, we're going to keep this. This is my left hand under my seat, and I want you to tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder, keeping this left hand attached under that seat. That can almost immediately provide a really strong stretch. So go slow and be careful and play with where your chin is. Maybe it feels better for your chin to gaze down towards your seat. That just slightly stretches a different part of that neck and upper shoulder. Maybe it feels better to tilt your chin slightly up, but play with these small movements here just for one more breath. Inhale, let your other arm just hang and drape off the side of the chair. And we'll come back to center and do the other side. So now I'm grabbing underneath my right seat. So this hand secure under my seat. Very gently, I'm going to tilt my chin so my left ear comes towards my left shoulder. Keep that left shoulder down, away. And the more you tilt your head and your neck away from that arm that is secured to the chair, you'll feel a really nice stretch opening up through there. Again, play with slowly inhaling and exhaling. Maybe tilt your chin down so you're gazing down towards your seat. Maybe tilt your chin up so you're gazing towards the sky. And they don't have to feel the same on both sides, whichever feels like a good stretch for you, like a nice position for you. Give it one more inhale. Exhale, coming back to center. So we're going to take that stretch a little bit deeper this time. So I want you to inhale that left arm up. If you have space, this right arm is going to rest on your seat, or if you're next to a table, you can rest it on the table. I want you to think about keeping your left hip sealed to your seat as that left arm reaches up and long. So we're making a long line from our left fingertip all the way down to our sit bone on that side. You should feel a lengthening now through your entire side body. Play with where you want your gaze, looking down towards the floor if that feels comfortable for you, or tilting your chin back up or straight ahead. One more inhale here. Exhale brings us back to center. Let's do a cleansing breath in the middle. Reach your arms up, lift your gaze, shine your light. Inhale deeply. Exhale, hands, heart, center. We'll tilt to the opposite side. So again, for me, this is my right arm. I want your left arm resting either on your seat or on a desk or a table next to you. Lengthen from your right fingertips all the way to your right sit bone, feeling long through your entire right side body. Your gaze can be any direction that serves you. Tilted up to the sky, straight ahead, down to the ground. One more inhale. Exhale brings you back to heart center. We'll do a couple more sort of modified cat and cow here in our seat. So you can place your hands on your knees. Inhale, lifting your heart, broadening across your shoulders. And think about bringing these shoulder blades pinched together in the back. And as you exhale, rounding forward through your spine, tilting your chin down to your lap. And if you want a little more room in your chair so that you can have a little more rotation, you can do that. So sitting on the edge of your seat, inhale, expanding across your collarbones, lifting your heart, pinch your shoulder blades together on the back side, gazes up. Exhale, rounding down and through, tilting your chin towards the ground, feeling a stretch across the back of your neck. One more inhale, lift and reach. This is our seated cow pose. Exhale, rounding down. This is our seated cat pose. So really arch that back. Good. We're kind of working our way down from our head on down. Let's do a little bit more with our arms. I want you to lift your arms up to the sky and then bend them like you're making a goalpost. So we call this either goalpost arms or cactus arms. And what I want you to do in this position is think about bringing your elbows towards the back of the room. Okay, so we're going to put some movement into this. On an inhale, I want you to bring your arms together in the front, keeping them bent. And exhale, open and broaden. Inhale, bring them closed in the front. Exhale, bring them open. Now we're going to switch our breathing sequence here. So I want you to inhale, broaden, lengthen, lighten, even tilt your chin up to the sky, elbows back. Exhale, rounding forward, bring your elbows together. Inhale, opening, broadening, lifting. Exhale, rounding forward. Good. One more. On your inhale, as you lift, you should feel a nice stretch right across your collarbones, right across your big chest muscles. And as you exhale and come forward, rounding slightly, so stretch across that upper back, tilt your chin down if that feels okay. Good, so let's shake our arms out. Do a couple of wrist circles with me here. As you inhale, lifting your arms up, rolling your circles in one direction. As you exhale, roll those wrists, circle them in the opposite direction, bring them on down. One more inhale, shoulders, lift, wrists, circle, exhale, bring it on down. We're gonna move down the body a little bit more towards our hips. So we're gonna do a seated stretch for hip opener. And this is called figure 4. So lots of options for you. You can take this leg, if you can, cross it right up over your other leg. The position of the leg you're resting your foot on intensifies the stretch. So if I put this leg down on the ground out in front of me, so it's lengthened and long, there's less intensity on this hip. But if what I want is to feel more of a stretch in this outside hip, I slowly bend this leg that's underneath me, bringing it up towards me. Okay, now there's no perfect pose ever in yoga, so don't let anyone try to convince you of that. It's whatever's good for your body. So we're going to be in this figure 4 pose. The hip of the leg that's crisscrossed over you is where you feel the stretch and that outside glute muscle. So it might feel good to take your hand above your knee, so on your thigh, give a little bit of overpressure down. That opens the hip up a little bit more. You'll feel a little bit more on the outside of that hip. You can also, instead of pushing with your hand, intentionally use the muscles in your hip and think about opening that hip using those muscles. Okay, so maybe we'll do a couple pulses with this leg. I want you to think about opening the hip, relaxing the hip, sink to your breath. Inhale, open your hip. Exhale, relax. Inhale, open your hip. Exhale, relax. 2 more. Inhale, open your hip. Exhale, relax. Last one. Inhale, open your hip. Exhale, go ahead and uncross. We're going to do the other side, and there is absolutely nothing that says the other side has to feel the same or be symmetrical. Mine does not. This leg's coming way up. I have a lot more tightness in this hip. So I'm going to extend my bottom leg down a little bit so I can start in a more comfortable position for me. Again, you want your spine long, so we're from our head to our hips. It's nice and straight. The leg that's crossed over the top is where you're going to feel the stretch in that outside hip. So two options here. Place your hand above the knee, so on your thigh. Maybe give a little gentle overpressure, or in your mind, send your energy into that hip muscle and ask it to open. And you can create that movement as well actively. Okay, so we're going to sync this to our breath. So inhale, open that hip. Exhale, relax. Inhale, open your hip. Exhale, relax. You can play with your foot position throughout. Pull it in if you want. Slide it out. Inhale, open your hip. Exhale, relax. One more inhale, open your hip. Exhale, relax. Good. We're going to do a little bit of a hamstring stretch. I'm just going to turn on the profile maybe so I can show you a little bit. One leg at a time, and then we'll do both. So for the first leg, pick whichever leg you want to start with. You're going to extend it out from your chair. So one leg is bent and this leg is straight. And my goal when I'm stretching the hamstring's on the back of the leg. That's where I want to feel the stretch. So don't feel compelled. The goal is not how far can I go, because sometimes then we sacrifice our posture, which doesn't address the right muscle. So I need you to really super hyper focus on, I don't care how far I go, I care about stretching the hamstring. Hinge at your hip. That means as you come forward, the first thing that moves is you're bringing your body straight but forward. Okay, so I'm hinging at my hip. You start to feel a stretch in the back of that straight leg. Maybe give it a little gentle bend. See if you can hinge a little bit farther forward. At some point, your hamstring will tell you that's enough. Then you may roll on down with your head, neck, and spine to add in the rest of that lengthening. Okay? So you need to find the position of hamstring stretch on that leg, and we're going to work on our breathing. So I want you to take 3 to 5 slow breaths, inhaling and exhaling, with your hamstring lengthened. Okay, you should feel a stretch maybe in the back of your knee, maybe in the back of your thigh, maybe all the way up into the back of your hip, because that hamstring muscle crosses both of those joints. So you might feel it that whole space. A few more inhales and exhales. And when you're ready, be gentle with yourself. Roll it back up. You can bend that leg and come back into your seat. Okay, so now we're going to switch and do the other side. So I want you to take your other leg, stretch it out long in front of you. But if that already feels a little bit tight for you, bend your knee a little bit. That's okay. We're going to take a nice deep inhale, hinge from our hip, meaning come forward at the hip first. Maybe you can stretch that leg a little bit long. And once your hamstring is at its peak stretch, and you'll know it when you find it, then you can roll that head and shoulders forward, bringing yourself down. Probably adds a little bit of intensity to that stretch. That's okay. Slowly inhaling and exhaling here for 3 to 5 breaths. And your next inhale, when you're ready, is going to bring you back up. And you can shake those legs out. We're going to do a little, we call it like a windshield wiper. So you're just going to let your knees drop side to side. This feels really good too if you are laying on your back and you want to stretch your back out ever. It's just a nice release for those hips and low back that we just stretched. So a couple little swipes side to side. Then we'll do a couple of lunges here as well in our seat. So this usually is best if you're kind of forward on the edge of your seat. And we're going to go ahead and bring ourselves into a lunge position. So one leg is going to be bent, and that bent leg foot is flat on the floor. My toes are pointing in the direction of my knee, so straight out from me. My long leg is long out beside me, and my foot is sealed to the floor. So my feet are actually at a 90-degree angle from each other. The long leg points forward. The bent leg points to the side. Okay, so what you should feel is an opening on the front side of the hip, which is okay because we already worked on stretching those. And I want you to inhale those arms all the way up to the sky. And as you bring them down, open into those cactus arms we already practiced. Okay, keeping those arms bent, your fingers just light. Bring your elbows back to the back side of the room. And what I want you to feel like you're emphasizing here is an opening across the front body, across the chest, across the hips. We're working on strengthening our scapular stabilizer muscles by just holding this position. Make sure your ears are not close to your shoulders. So maybe you got to exhale and drop those shoulders away. Inhale, lengthen those arms long, gaze over the hand that's over the bent knee. Now you're in a nice warrior pose. Your next inhale, flip your front palm, lean towards that arm slightly. As you exhale, bring your hand down towards your back leg, front arm up, gaze lifts. This is our humble, peaceful warrior, okay? One more inhale here. Exhale, float back to center. Arms come down, legs come in. Let's just windshield wiper them a little bit side to side before we switch. Working on your breathing, staying focused on maybe whatever intention you're thinking of for yourself today. I like that image of there being some peace and calm in the midst of the storms. Maybe that works for you. Okay, let's lunge on the other side. So again, our focus is opening the front side of the body. Opposite leg is now bent, so those toes are pointing out to the side. This long leg comes down to the ground. My foot seals to the floor. My toes on that one point to the front of the room. So your toes are pointing at 90-degree angle to each other, okay? Open across the front body. Inhale, arms float up to the sky. Look up to the sky. And as you exhale, open into those cactus arms again. Make sure your shoulders are down away from your ears. So pinch those shoulder blades together on your back side. Float your elbows open and just breathe here. Keep your hips opening. You want to think about that bent knee moving towards the pinky toe side, not dumping in towards the big toe. So we're opening wider, okay? Your next inhale, float your arms out long, extending from your shoulders to your fingertips. Gaze over that arm that's on the bent knee. Inhale here. Your next inhale, flip that front palm, lean towards it. And your exhale, you come down towards that back side. Peaceful warrior, lengthening across that body. Gaze up towards your fingertips, keeping your hips opening. One more inhale here. And your exhale brings you back to center. So let's bring our legs back in. Let's rotate them side to side a little bit. Keep your inhale and your exhale. try one more stretch. I don't know if your seat permits you having enough room, but we're going to try and do like a butterfly stretch. So if you have enough room on your chair, you're actually going to try to bring your feet up into what we call a butterfly pose. So you want the soles of your feet to be able to touch each other. If your chair is like super awkward for this, I can't see you. Hop on the floor for a second if that's okay. But what you want to be able to do if you're in your chair is use that back support to keep your spine long. If you're on the floor, just be mindful of that as well. So you want the soles of your feet to touch. Your hands can kind of do whatever feels good. Sometimes people take their two fingers on each side. We call these our peace fingers. Grab your big toe, and you can also take your whole hand and grab your foot. But again, in this position, you want to think about these legs being heavy going towards the ground. So intentionally send them in that direction. Maybe if you're going to use some pressure, again, stay above the knee so your pressure's on your thighs. Maybe do one at a time. Maybe kind of flap your little butterfly wings, right? To kind of get them warmed up a little bit. But intentionally then try to send those hips open, your knees towards the ground, slow your breathing, calm your gaze, bring your shoulders away from your ears, lengthen your spine. Sometimes if you're sitting on the floor doing this at home or in a yoga class, this is a great position to actually sit on a block. So there's a block under your hips. It actually helps your pelvis rotate forward, and you can open your hips even a little bit more and release any of that tension or tightness. Okay. So as you could imagine, when we sit a lot in our chairs, we tend to roll our pelvis underneath us. So this is a really nice reset pose if you've been sitting for a while or you plan to be sitting for parts of your day. And if you were able to make this butterfly pose work, now just go ahead and bring yourself into like a cross-legged position. There's lots of options for that. You can stack your legs. We kind of call that like a fire log. You can go into like a half lotus where one leg is up on top of the other. You can tuck into a full, you can just be cross-legged. But we're going to finish here in our seat in just a comfortable, easy seat position. Rest your arms on your lap, palms up invites in that nice energy. And if you already feel sort of like you've been up for a while, you're fully caffeinated, you want to bring it down a notch, hands down. That absorbs actually like a grounding sensation and helps you feel a little bit calmer. So whichever one you need, close your eyes. Take a few deep inhales together. So inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath at the top. Exhale the same length. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time we're going to go to 6. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold your breath at the top. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Let's try 8. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold it. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can gently blink your eyes open, bring your hands to heart center, It's typically customary to close a class by saying namaste, and I'll tell you what that means. So if it feels comfortable for you, we can say it together. Namaste literally means the love and the light, the peace inside of me sees, honors, cherishes the love and the light inside of you. And so I think that's a beautiful, really intense meaning. And so I'm happy to share that with you. So if that feels good to you too, we can bow to each other and say namaste. Well, thank you so much for starting your day with me and for taking the time for yourself and for your practice. I hope you have a super great rest of your day. Um, and join me next time. Thank you. Bye. Yep, you too. Bye bye.